back, and I recognize the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Figures, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Mr. Ranking, for hosting this hearing and for all of the witnesses being here. I want to start by recognizing Alabama's Director of Emergency Management, Jeff Smitherman, who is in the audience with us, and also thank you for your near 30 years of service to this nation's military. So thank you, and thank you for being here, and thank you for what you do in the state. Our state was just hit by a round of thunderstorms, and your office kept us abreast of what was going on and kept us well prepared. Fortunately, well, I guess both fortunately and unfortunately, the damage did not rise to a level of a federal, or at least that's my understanding as of this morning, that it will not likely rise to the level of a federal emergency, but yet some rural areas did take hits, and there were some losses, some lives lost in that storm. Ms. Laughter, I'm going to do something that I don't think you've probably gotten in this process, and that is, I believe it was Maya Angelou who once said that people, they don't remember everything about you, but they will certainly remember how you made them feel. It sounds like FEMA didn't make you and your community feel very good. And so on behalf of all of us, I was not in Congress at the time, but on behalf of everybody on this committee and everybody that serves in federal government, I want to say that I am sorry, because our government should be there for our people. And I know you guys have experienced that in Florida as well, so I want to apologize on behalf of all of us and commit to doing better and using my position here to make sure that we're not making other communities feel the way that you felt. And I mean that as a kid that was born in Hurricane Alley, where names like Aaron and Opal and Danny and Georges and Katrina and Ivan, they mean a little bit something different to me. Hell, I was literally born during a hurricane in September of 1985, Hurricane Elena. So I know a little bit about FEMA. I know a little bit about communities that need their recovery, need their help, but we needed to be efficient, and we needed to be quick, and we needed to be effective. And so I want to start, at least my first question is, look, it seems that this problem is bigger than just FEMA. You've mentioned 30 agencies being involved in this process. So how by fixing FEMA are we resolving the entire problem, or is there a broader scope of inquiry that we need to be addressing these efforts on? And we can just go down the road, Mr. Curry.
Yes. Unfortunately, FEMA is the face of response and recovery for the federal government. But when you look at the funding, it's spread all over the federal government, and each of those agencies has their own rules, programs, requirements, and timeframes. And so when those all come together, it creates a very confusing system and process if you're a state or local emergency manager.
Mr. Guthrie.
Thank you, Congressman. I would say yes, we need a comprehensive review of the scope, mission, and structure of FEMA, but I would even say take that to the macro. We need a comprehensive review of the scope, mission, and structure of every agency that is a part of the federal family that responds to disasters. Because again, FEMA is a coordinating element. They're not the command and control element. They're the coordinating element. But when you have, if you're a fisheries, aquaculture, you got to go through, I believe it's the Department of Commerce. If you're in agriculture, you go through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. If you got something that's on a FHWA roadway, you're going through DOT. That's at the public level. Imagine if you're an individual that's dependent on Section 8 housing, you're going through HUD. If you're with DCF, you're going through maybe another HHS agency. We have got to figure out, again, comprehensive review of the scope, mission, and structure of the federal family to streamline that into one single application, whether it's for public sector or individual assistance sector. We've got to get to that level.
I don't want to cut you off, but I want to give Ms. Laughter because I want to get one more question in for Mr. Garcia.
I agree. I think it is more complicated than just FEMA. We have an example right now of private property debris removal. We have a farmer that has 300 bales of spoiled hay from the flood, and he cannot access the private property debris removal because he falls under USDA. And he also cannot get direction from the same agency of how to access USDA in order to get relief. Right. He just needs help.
Right. Mr. Garcia.
With so many agencies involved, it does cause confusion, or would cause confusion. So, and at all levels for the local community as well as the residents at heart. So, comprehensive review absolutely is necessary.
All right, and then Mr. Garcia, just for you, you mentioned in your opening testimony, you mentioned about underserved and disadvantaged communities, and that particularly resonates with me. I'm in a very poor district For the most part, individual median income is just around $30,000. So these are people that can't afford to rebuild on their own. So my question for you is, in those communities that have been hit by storms, particularly hurricanes, tornadoes, where we see those blue tarps go on those roofs, we go back too often, and those blue tarps are still there years later. In fact, sometimes decades later. How can we better streamline resources to get into those communities?
Thank you. And I will tell you that streamlining the process is absolutely critical. As I mentioned, both the legislation that is being proposed, disaster survivors, and the Simplification Act, all those things are going to help us remove the barriers that the communities could face. And so we need the support by FEMA. So staff shortages at FEMA do not help us move forward. All of this is important for us to address. So, simplification, plain language, universal portals, those things are absolutely helpful to get the resources where they're needed.
Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the overage.
Thank you. The gentleman